Can African nations forcefully make Western nations take off their control over Africa? This question is no longer possible. African nations have already done it. Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso have ditched the French CFA franc for a new common currency. But that's not all. The three nations have also decided to sever military ties with the West so they can no longer control them. But will Western nations try to resist? If yes, what can they even do? Let's find out. In a region often faced with adversity, Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso are emerging as beacons of unity and progress. A recent proposal by General Abdur hints at a groundbreaking shift, the adoption of a common currency among these Sahel nations. This initiative, heralded during a televised address on February 11, 2024, signifies a bold step towards shedding the remnants of colonial legacies, particularly the French CFA franc. As the wheels of change turn, these countries, once mired in political unrest, are now forging ahead with newfound determination and solidarity. The proposal for a common currency is not merely an economic effort, but a symbolic declaration of sovereignty and unity. For decades, the franc CFA has been a controversial symbol of the region's colonial past, with many viewing it as a relic of France's grip on its former colonies. Its ties to the French treasury have often been criticized for limiting the economic autonomy of these nations. Thus, the decision to break away from this currency regime represents a profound assertion of independence and self-determination by Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. Moreover, beyond the symbolic gesture, the adoption of a common currency holds immense practical implications for the economic development and stability of the region. By streamlining monetary policies and facilitating intra-regional trade, the new currency has the potential to catalyze economic growth and reduce dependency on external actors. Historically, the fragmented nature of currency systems in West Africa has hindered cross-border trade and investment. Harmonizing currencies among Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso could unlock synergies and create a more conducive environment for business and commerce, ultimately boosting prosperity for the entire region. Additionally, the proposal reflects a broader trend of regional integration and cooperation sweeping across Africa. In recent years, there has been a concerted effort among African nations to strengthen intracontinental ties and reduce dependence on external powers. Initiatives like the African Continental Free Trade Area, AfCFTA, exemplify this shift towards Pan-African collaboration. By adopting a common currency, Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso are not only aligning themselves with this trend, but also setting a precedent for other African nations to follow suit. This move signals a departure from the traditional paradigm of reliance on former colonial powers towards a more self-reliant and interdependent Africa. Furthermore, the proposal highlights the evolving dynamics of governance and leadership within the Sahel region. Historically characterized by political instability and coups d'état, Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso have grappled with governance challenges that have impeded their progress. However, the emergence of visionary leaders like General Abdur marks a turning point in the region's political landscape. With a commitment to democratic principles and regional cooperation, these leaders are spearheading initiatives that prioritize the collective welfare of their citizens and the advancement of the region as a whole. But how does ditching CFA franc mean breaking free from colonial shackles?
The truth is, it's a million miles from the reality of EU-Africa trade policy as it exists now. Because our economic relations with Africa are simply a continuation of European colonialism, perpetuating exploitation by other means. Africa trades more with Europe than it does with itself. It's portrayed as a poor continent, but actually it's the richest, just that the people there are denied the fruits of their land and their labour, by unequal economic relations, by unfair trade rules, by illicit capital flights into the Western banks, and by multinational corporations allowed off the leash by Washington, London and Brussels. This report would begin to change that. You know, I think it'd take a revolution to actually make that a reality.
The CFA franc, deeply rooted in French colonization, has long been a symbol of economic dependence and subjugation for many African nations. However, the winds of change are sweeping across the Sahel region as Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso strive to reclaim economic autonomy. These nations seek financial integration by proposing a common currency and signaling a resolute break from the colonial past. This move highlights their commitment to charting their economic destiny and fostering regional cooperation for mutual prosperity. For decades, the CFA franc has served as a stark reminder of the colonial legacy that has hindered the economic progress of West African nations. Under the colonial arrangement, these countries were subjected to strict monetary policies dictated by France, limiting their ability to pursue independent fiscal strategies and hindering economic growth. The CFA franc was pegged to the French franc and later the euro, effectively tying the economic fortunes of these African nations to those of their former colonizer. This asymmetric relationship perpetuated a cycle of dependency and reinforced power imbalances, stifling indigenous economic initiatives and perpetuating underdevelopment. In proposing a common currency, Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso are challenging this historical narrative and asserting their sovereignty in matters of monetary policy and economic governance. By breaking away from the CFA franc, they reclaim control over their monetary systems and pave the way for a more equitable and inclusive economic landscape. This move is not driven solely by economic considerations, but also by a desire to assert their identity and agency in the international arena. It represents a significant step towards decolonizing their economies and forging a path towards genuine self-determination. Moreover, the proposal for a common currency reflects a broader shift towards regional integration and solidarity among African nations. In recent years, there has been a growing recognition of the importance of intracontinental cooperation in addressing common challenges and unlocking the continent's vast potential. By aligning their currencies, Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso are strengthening ties with their neighbors and laying the groundwork for deeper economic collaboration. This move has the potential to foster greater economic resilience and competitiveness, enabling the Sahel region to leverage its collective strengths and resources for sustainable development. Furthermore, adopting a common currency promises to facilitate regional trade and investment, driving economic growth and job creation. The fragmented nature of currency systems in West Africa has long been a barrier to cross-border commerce, imposing transaction costs and hampering the flow of goods and services. By harmonizing their currencies, Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso can eliminate these barriers and create a more conducive environment for business and investment. This, in turn, can spur entrepreneurship and innovation, unleashing the region's entrepreneurial potential and driving economic diversification. How would this decision impact the Sahel region? Beyond economic considerations, the proposal for a common currency reflects a broader vision of unity and solidarity among Sahelian nations. In the wake of recent political upheavals and military coups, Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso have formed the Alliance of Sahel States, bolstering their defense capabilities and affirming their commitment to collective security. This newfound alliance exemplifies their resilience and determination to navigate the challenges of the modern era on their terms. Here's a reminder to please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. Establishing the Alliance of Sahel States signifies a strategic shift towards regional cooperation and mutual support in the face of shared security threats and geopolitical pressures. Historically, the Sahel region has been plagued by instability, with armed conflict, terrorism, and transnational crime posing significant challenges to peace and stability. By coming together under a unified framework, Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso are pooling their resources and expertise to address these challenges collectively rather than confronting them in isolation. Moreover, the Alliance of Sahel States represents a departure from the traditional reliance on external actors for security assistance. It highlights the growing confidence of these nations in their ability to safeguard their interests. In the past, the Sahel region has often been the target of intervention by foreign powers seeking to advance their strategic agendas. However, by forging a regional alliance, Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso are reclaiming control over their security architecture and asserting their sovereignty in matters of defense and national security. The Alliance of Sahel States also fosters dialogue and cooperation on various issues, including development, governance, and human rights. Recognizing the interconnected nature of contemporary challenges, these nations leverage their collective strength to address root causes and promote sustainable solutions. By sharing best practices and lessons learned, they build resilience and capacity at national and regional levels, laying the groundwork for long-term stability and prosperity. Furthermore, the alliance reflects a shared commitment to democratic principles and good governance, as evidenced by the recent transition to civilian rule in Mali and Burkina Faso. By reaffirming their commitment to democracy and the rule of law, Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso are setting a positive example for the wider region and demonstrating that democratic governance is not only desirable, but essential for ensuring peace, stability, and prosperity. But you must think it is not that easy, and indeed, you are right, it is not that easy. Let's talk about the challenges of waiting for this plan. And with challenges, let's also talk about opportunities. While the proposal for a common currency holds immense promise, it presents formidable challenges and complexities. Harmonizing fiscal policies, addressing disparities in economic development, and ensuring monetary stability will require concerted efforts and sustained cooperation. Moreover, transitioning from the CFA franc to a new currency entails navigating geopolitical dynamics and managing external pressures, particularly from former colonial powers. Nonetheless, amidst these challenges lie unprecedented opportunities for economic growth, trade expansion, and regional integration. The journey towards a common currency is fraught with challenges, chief among them being the need to reconcile differing fiscal policies and economic priorities among Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. Each nation brings unique economic strengths and challenges, requiring careful coordination and negotiation to ensure the new currency serves all parties' interests. Disparities in economic development, infrastructure, and governance could undermine the common currency's effectiveness if left unaddressed, highlighting the importance of inclusive decision-making and equitable distribution of benefits. Furthermore, ensuring monetary stability in the transition phase is essential to prevent disruptions to economic activity and investor confidence. Fluctuations in exchange rates and inflationary pressures could undermine the credibility of the new currency and erode public trust in the monetary system. Therefore, robust mechanisms for managing monetary policy, regulating financial markets, and safeguarding against external shocks will be critical to maintaining stability and confidence in the new currency regime. Moreover, the transition from the CFA franc to a new currency is not merely a technical process, but also a politically sensitive one, fraught with geopolitical implications. Former colonial powers, particularly France, may seek to influence the transition process to safeguard their interests and maintain their influence in the region. Managing these external pressures while asserting their sovereignty and autonomy will require deft diplomacy and strategic foresight on the part of Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. However, amidst these challenges lie unprecedented opportunities for economic growth, trade expansion, and regional integration. By adopting a common currency, Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso can streamline cross-border transactions, reduce transaction costs, and promote greater market efficiency. This, in turn, can stimulate investment, foster entrepreneurship, and create new employment opportunities, driving economic growth and poverty reduction across the region. Furthermore, the common currency can enhance the Sahel region's attractiveness as a foreign investment and trade destination. A unified currency signals stability, predictability, and openness to the global market, making it more appealing for investors and businesses looking to tap into the region's abundant resources and burgeoning consumer market. This, coupled with ongoing efforts to improve infrastructure and regulatory frameworks, could unlock the region's vast economic potential and position it as a key player in the global economy. While this important economic decision was being made, another factor was also given importance: women's empowerment. But how is that related to this economic matter? Amidst the geopolitical shifts and economic transformations, the voices of women in Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso resonate as catalysts for change. President Ibrahim Traoré's tribute to the resilience and strength of Burkinabe women highlights their pivotal role in shaping their nation's future. As pillars of their communities, these women embody the spirit of perseverance and empowerment, driving social progress and economic resilience amidst adversity. By championing gender equality and economic empowerment, Sahelian leaders are laying the groundwork for inclusive and sustainable development. Women in Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso are not merely passive recipients of change, but active agents driving transformative progress in their societies. Despite facing systemic barriers and entrenched gender norms, they have demonstrated remarkable resilience and ingenuity in overcoming challenges and advocating for their rights. From grassroots activism to political leadership, women across the Sahel region are making their voices heard and pushing for meaningful change in education, healthcare, and economic opportunities. President Traoré's recognition of Burkinabe women's contributions reflects a broader recognition of women's indispensable role in fostering stability and prosperity in the Sahel region. Whether as entrepreneurs, educators, caregivers, or community leaders, women are at the forefront of efforts to build more resilient and inclusive societies. Their leadership and innovation have been instrumental in addressing pressing challenges, such as food insecurity, climate change, and conflict resolution, contributing to their nation's overall well-being and development. Moreover, women's empowerment is a matter of social justice and a strategic imperative for sustainable development. Studies have shown that investing in women's education, health, and economic opportunities yields significant returns in terms of poverty reduction, economic growth, and social stability. By promoting gender equality and removing barriers to women's participation in the economy and public life, Sahelian leaders are unlocking the full potential of their societies and ensuring that no one is left behind in the pursuit of progress. Also, efforts to empower women are closely linked to broader initiatives promoting peace, security, and stability in the Sahel region. Women are often disproportionately affected by conflict and violence, yet they also possess unique insights and skills that are invaluable for building peace and resolving conflicts. By ensuring women's meaningful participation in peace processes and decision-making, Sahelian leaders are not only advancing gender equality, but also strengthening the foundations of peace and security in their nations. Coming back to the decision made, another important action followed: the suspension of military cooperation. Well, it might sound like what military cooperation has to do with this matter. Still, it all makes sense after knowing how economic matters are not just economic matters, but decisions to withdraw from Western influence. Why, in simple words, is military cooperation being suspended? The suspension of military cooperation with external powers, such as the United States and France, highlights the Sahelian nations' resolve to assert their sovereignty and chart an independent course. Niger's decision to suspend military cooperation with the United States reflects a recalibration of diplomatic relations and a reassertion of national interests. Similarly, Mali's expulsion of French troops signals a broader trend of redefining partnerships based on mutual respect and non-interference. As these countries assert their sovereignty, they are reshaping the geopolitical landscape of the Sahel region and beyond. Will ending military ties help African nations gain independence and destroy Western influence? How will this help establish a new currency easily? Ending military ties with foreign powers could contribute to African nations' quest for independence and reduce Western influence. Severing military ties is a significant step towards asserting sovereignty and autonomy in national security and foreign policy matters. Military ties with foreign powers often entail dependency on external assistance for defense capabilities, training, and equipment. While such partnerships may offer short-term benefits in terms of security assistance, they can also compromise national sovereignty and perpetuate a cycle of dependency on foreign powers. By ending military ties, African nations want to reclaim control over their defense policies and reduce reliance on external actors for security. Furthermore, military ties with Western powers, particularly former colonial rulers, can perpetuate historical power dynamics and reinforce Western influence in African affairs. These ties may come with strings attached, such as political concessions or economic dependencies, undermining efforts towards genuine independence and self-determination. By disentangling themselves from these relationships, African nations can assert their agency in shaping their destinies and pursuing policies that serve their national interests. Moreover, Ending military ties with Western powers sends a strong political message about Africa's commitment to sovereignty, self-reliance, and non-alignment. It fosters a sense of unity and solidarity among African nations and strengthens intracontinental cooperation in addressing common challenges and advancing shared interests. By asserting their independence in defense and security matters, African nations can assert themselves as equal partners on the global stage and reduce their susceptibility to external interference and manipulation. Ending military ties with Western powers, particularly France, can create a more conducive environment for economic independence and monetary sovereignty by establishing a new currency and breaking away from the French CFA franc. Military agreements with Western powers, particularly France, may come with economic dependencies and political obligations that can impede efforts to transition to a new currency and assert control over monetary policy. By severing military ties, African nations can reduce the leverage Western powers may have in influencing their economic policies and monetary decisions. This can create space for African nations to pursue alternative economic partnerships and alliances that align with their interests and objectives. Additionally, it can bolster confidence among African leaders in their ability to chart their economic destinies and resist external pressures in matters of currency and finance. However, it's essential to recognize that ending military ties is just one aspect of achieving independence and reducing Western influence. African nations must also address other forms of dependency, such as economic aid, trade relationships, and diplomatic alliances, to assert their sovereignty and autonomy. Moreover, building a new currency and breaking away from the French CFA franc requires comprehensive strategies that address economic, political, and institutional challenges. It demands strong leadership, regional cooperation, and a commitment to inclusive and sustainable development to ensure the success of such a transformative effort. Do you think the African nation's road to prosperity is now clear and easy? Will France try to regain its influence by offering a better deal? Let us know in the comments section if you think ditching CFA franc is the right decision. Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If so, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We have decided to bring videos on something nobody talks about: the Black culture, civilization, history, and evidence about how glorious Blacks have been. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.